Welcome, birdies, to another episode of Raven's Nest. If this is your first time tuning in, I'm Raven, and our co-host Raven is unable to be here. Some stupid person ran into her, but hence Raven's Nest. Thank you for joining our flock today, and today we will be discussing mental health with my cousin Nick.
What's going on?
And if y'all didn't know, he actually, is the one who did this intro for us. So, But thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate you.
No problems.
So,
my pleasure.
Nick, what made you decide are you seeing a therapist?
Yes.
Okay, what made you decide to go see a therapist? Were you battling mental issues, or were you just hearing people talk about it and you wanted to see for yourself?
So, it was actually something that my mom suggested to me.
Okay.
So, what year we in right now? 2022. I started going in towards like the end of 2020. I think that was my first appointment, like November.
Around the pandemic, like during the pandemic. Do you think that had something to do with it?
No, not at all.
Okay,
okay. Lie to you because in 2020 we actually that was probably one of the best years that I personally have had, just from like everything just was quote unquote going right.
Okay.
In 2020, but that wasn't what made me go. I started like in 2020, but before then, like probably starting around 2017 when my mom started to suggest it, and more than anything, what made me want to go, or let me say this, what made her basically just be like, oh, you should go, is because Princeton was just born. He was born in 2017. For those who don't know, I got 3 kids. Princeton's my second born son. My first is her name is Skylar, and she was born when I was 20 years old, and Princeton was born in 2017, so I was 27. So obviously, at 20 years old, well, I'm saying all this to say that essentially Princeton coming into the world was like, because not only was I watching Princeton, this is when I was watching my other godson, Drew, and I was also watching somebody else's daughter at the time, and just dealing with all the kids and trying to work and all that type of stuff, like, that just was having me feel whatever type of way. So, like, when on top of, everything that was going on with, like, Jessica was my wife, and trying to just basically be a father, a husband, all that type of stuff. So it just was I was feeling like a lot of pressure, and I always talk to my mom, like, she, of course, our parents be our first therapist, and then she just suggested it for me to go. But
did your mom go to therapy, or she just?
No, she ain't never been.
Okay.
Her therapy is in the church house. You know what I'm saying? So
that is so funny. So on the first episode about mental health, we have Raven's cousin, who is a licensed therapist, and she was saying, one of the questions I asked her is, why do you think when we're like battling mental health that we tend not to go to our loved ones? And she was like, because they're always, I'm gonna pray for you.
Yeah.
Like, and I was like, that's so true. And of course we all believe in God here.
Right.
We do.
For sure.
G-O-D. But sometimes you do get tired of hearing that,
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, no, and that's the thing. So it's crazy that you spoke on that, because that was another thing that caused her to tell me to go to therapy, because during those times I was actually, from a spiritual perspective, not feeling connected. Like, I was feeling like as the years have gone by, just from Princeton being born, working, doing stuff with all them kids, working and all this other stuff, and then from Sway being born, and like just how we all know how kids are, like, it's very stressful dealing with kids, and we know they're the best things that have happened to us, but still in all, it is stressful just trying to make sure you're taking care of this kid, or if you got multiple kids, taking care of all the kids, and make sure your partner good, and make sure you good. And so, like, at points in time, I used to actually think that I was being attacked spiritually. I'm like, why is God having me go through this? Because I feel like I've always been connected, and felt connected, and that I was, I guess one of those ones spiritually, like, why are you having me going through this? But of course, as I grow and get older, I just realize it's all a part of the process, which it is. But when you're going through it, you don't really be feeling like that.
You ain't trying to hear that. Yeah. You're not. Okay, cool.
So she would always be like, you just need to pray on it and this and that. And I'm like, Mom, I'm praying and ain't nothing has gotten better. So I'm like, that doesn't feel like, that's the best option. But, but I mean, again, because I think when people get to speaking about, like religion and, or just whatever, or like, I'm gonna pray for you this and that, like we live in a real world. So, sometimes it is hard for people to take that advice when at the end of the day, it's just like, oh, well, if I'm speaking on this thing, I'm speaking on this to, God or whatever, but still everything in the real world don't have to feel like it's changing. So you're going to naturally just be like, well, I don't think this ain't working for me. And that's how I felt. And again, that's what made my mom just feel like maybe you need to go to therapy and just figure out like, why you feel these type of ways or whatever. So again, just after years of hearing her, I've always wanted to go too. Like even before I started going in 2020, I wanted to go, but I just basically making excuses, procrastinating, just being real. But yeah.
Okay, so just being real, like kind of reflecting and thinking about it. Why do you think you were making excuses? Is it because you didn't know anyone else going, no one else your age going? Was cost a factor or time? Because those are things that people really be like, man.
Yeah, I didn't really feel like I had time for it. Because, again, during those times, I'm dealing with 3 toddlers. And then, really when Drew came out here, he just turned 1. Preston wasn't even 1 yet. So
that's a lot right there.
Yeah, I'm dealing with both of them at the same time, and willingly. Like it's not like it was, they were throwing on me or anything. Like I, wanted to be around them. Yeah, always. But I was dealing with just those 3 babies, and then again I was working from home. Was Jessica in school? I don't think she was in cosmetology school at that time. Okay. But it just was points of time where, especially like when she was in cosmetology school, those were definitely some very stressful times as far as for me. But no, I was never scared to go or whatever. I just felt like I didn't have time. I'm just like, I got to get up. As soon as I get up, I'm logging onto a computer just to, get ready for work. And not only am I working, I'm sitting here taking care of, all these kids, making sure that they good, fed, all this and that while I'm working from home. And then, of course, how it is after you get off of work. And not only after you get off work, if you already been dealing with kids after you get off work, to get off work, just keep dealing with them kids. Like, you don't want to do nothing. So
I want me time.
I'm like, man, I'm not doing that.
So, okay, you said that you started going to a therapist in the end of 2020. Was this in person or virtual?
Yeah, in person.
It was in person.
I wasn't doing that virtual
stuff. So how did you find your therapist?
So I'm
sorry. How did you find your therapist, and did you have to go through multiple before you found one? Because sometimes you do. So
yeah, no, I didn't have to go through multiple. This was a one take, Jake. Let me just take my little sip of water real quick.
Woo.
So one, I went through my insurance first of all. So for a lot of people out there, if y'all don't know, if you call your insurance company, whoever you have insurance with, no matter if it's through your job, even if you have like Obamacare or you get insurance off of healthcare.gov, you can call them and just ask them about therapy. You just tell them what type of therapy that you want. Like for me, so I just basically called and I just was like, hey, I'm just trying to see, do you guys cover just counseling session or just therapy? And, they're just like, okay, what type of therapy do you think that you need? And, I just, again, I'm just would say like just things with mental, like I just feel like, I'm battling things, this and that. And I just want to be able to speak to somebody about these type of things so they can help me figure everything out. And I can't remember if they classified that as like a behavioral type of therapy or something like that, but they have classifications for it, of course, within the insurance company so they can know who they need to route you to. And so once I basically spoke to the agent about that, my insurance actually didn't carry. They didn't actually cover therapy. But they had another company. It was a third party company that I guess they have a contract with or something like that actually covered therapy for. I was with Blue Cross Blue Shield, so they actually covered the therapy for Blue Cross Blue Shield. I guess customers or people who have that insurance. So I actually ended up getting 6 free sessions first. So of course it was free. So I'm just like, hey, I'm in there. I'm finna use these free sessions. So that's kind of how. Oh no, didn't you ask me how did I find the person? It could have been.
The
I
only
don't
reason why I'm
remember the name.
asking is because I know most companies now, they offer EAP, Employee Assistance Program, and they'll
Yeah.
do free sessions.
That might have. I
Yeah.
really don't remember. I'm not gonna lie to you, but because once they said 6 free sessions,
Sign me up.
Yeah, I'm just,
I want it for the free.
yeah. But I mean, not that I would trip about paying for it, but
Yeah.
shoot. At the end of the day,
Shoot,
free is free. So
If I'm going to Six Flags and already plan on
Right.
spending the money, and y'all say free,
get free tickets. I'm in there.
I'm happy
Going
now.
out. So yeah, they let me know that I could be able to get 6 free sessions or whatnot. But then when it come to finding my lady, the rep was just like, okay, well, they start asking you a series of questions like, what kind of therapist do you want? Do you want a male? Do you want a female? And I specifically wanted a female because I don't know. I don't have anything against males at all, but even our family doctor's a female.
Okay.
I just feel like females or women, I'm sorry, because I know some women don't like the term female, but I just feel like, women just take care of you better than what men do. I mean, obviously y'all are the nurturing and all that type of stuff. So when it came to wanting to see a therapist, I just was like, I want somebody who I basically feel like who I feel love from.
Okay.
Like, I wanted it to be somebody that I feel like I feel love from, somebody that I, just basically felt like basically removing that this is my therapist, but I really feel like she's family type deal.
Okay. I feel
And
that.
so, I chose, that I wanted, a woman as my therapist and like, okay, well, what race do you want? Of course, I went with black. And then what was the other thing that they asked me? And then they just like, where you located, by zip code. And then they just basically I was sent the list by way of email of therapists who were, within my vicinity. And so I was calling around and I spoke to they gave me a list. It was probably about 15 women that were on there. And when I had about 15 women on there, different locations. I'm able to see how far, such and such is from this zip code, so on and so forth. So I was living in McKinney at the end, at that point in time. So of course, I'm looking at Allen, I'm looking at Frisco, I'm looking in Plano, just trying to find somebody. But everybody that I was finding in those areas, they were only doing virtual. And I didn't want to do virtual.
Yeah.
Because in my mind, at that time, again, this is 2020, so, everybody's doing virtual with, everything going on with COVID. But I just was like, in my mind, I'm just like, if I'm going to therapy to essentially get away from the things that I feel like are causing these mental problems, which, not to make this sound bad, but it's like, things going on in the house, again, with just being a father and, the family and stuff like that. Not that they were doing anything to me, but, that's why I'm trying to get away from that to go speak with somebody. So I didn't want to do anything virtual. Because I'm just like, they're going to be in the background. You know my kids, like Princeton and Suede and all them, like they busting indoors and all that. They don't care about you and your peace and all that. So I was like, nah, hell no. I'm like, I got to get away. So the first couple of, probably about maybe 3 people that I called about maybe 4 or 5 people. 3 of them were only doing virtual. So I just was like, well, I'll follow back up, at such time to see if y'all have anything available in person. And I just, of course, I didn't get an answer, so I just had to leave a message. And then with my current therapist, she actually didn't answer either. And I just left her a message. But what I did after I left her a message was I text her too. Because I think in her voicemail, she was just like, if I don't answer, just send me a text and I'll reply back to you. And so her name is Dana Mitchell. So if you look up Dana Mitchell on Google or whatnot, she's in Mesquite. She's the best.
Okay.
Thebest.com. And yeah, so I text her and I just like, hey, I'm just trying to, get a session scheduled. And, do you do virtual or in person? And she was like, I do both. I was like, I'm trying to come in person. And, I just told her about, my insurance or, the people that the other folks, cover the 6 things. And I want to book an appointment when you have some availability. And I think she had something available like a week or 2 after we talked, and I just went in there, and the rest is history.
How long have you been seeing her?
I still see her since 2020. Like I haven't been anywhere else. I actually got something with her in 2 weeks.
Okay,
and that will be my first time seeing her since November of last year.
I was just gonna ask that. So how frequently do you see her? And was it like every 2 weeks at first, and then cater down to 1 month?
Well, when I had the free sessions,
Woo! Woo!
when I had the free sessions, I was going as much as I could. So just whatever she had available, I was going like every 2 weeks. Though.
Okay.
Because even after I used up the 6 free sessions, I actually ended up. She told me, she being Dana, she just was like, all you gotta do is just call the same people that you call, and they'll give you 6 more sessions. So I'm just like, say less. I called them people, and they was just like, oh yeah, we'll give you 6 more sessions. So they gave me 6 more sessions.
That's
so,
what's up.
but yeah, when I first started, I was going like every 2 weeks, and then of course as just things were happening, holidays, and she actually has she's married and she has 2 twin daughters. So there was things coming up for them, graduations, and such as So after seeing her for a couple of weeks that first time, I just started going to like seeing her. I was trying to at least see her once a month, but of course, again, with certain things going on, I was just only able to see her like it'll start going like once every other month or just whatever. But I was just getting it in, for as long as I had no free sessions. I'm like, I'm finna use these, so I was going every chance I could get.
So, what have you learned about yourself from going through therapy? And also, before I even ask that, did you even see yourself going to her this long? You just thought like you'll probably go to her for the first free little 6 sessions, and then that was it?
I mean, honestly, I didn't go in there with any type of mindset. I just like, I'm just gonna go in there, and we're gonna see, what come up out of it. And I'm just like, if I like it, I'll stick with it. If I don't, then I'll just figure something else out. But for my very first session, I'm like, oh yeah, no.
You were hooked. Okay, Dana. But what have you learned since being in therapy?
I've learned a lot. The very first, which I think is the most important thing that I learned, was dealing with, so a little background as far as life-wise. Like I mean, that I'm basically growing up, I was going back and forth between being in Texas and being in Ohio because my dad is from Texas and my mom is from Ohio. So from preschool all the way up until I was in the 8th grade, I've been moving back and forth between Texas. All the way up until the 9th grade, going to Ranch View. That was the only time I've ever had a stability and been at a school for more than a year. So again, it was a lot of moving going on. And but one thing that she helped me realize was having abandonment issues.
Wow.
And so I never knew that. Like, I felt, whatever type of ways that I felt growing up. But I don't know, like I think probably as I think about it now, me going outside and doing things like with other kids or playing a game or whatever, like, those were getaways for me. So of course I wasn't even thinking about it because when you're a kid, you don't really know what's going on, but you don't really know what's going on. But she helped me realize that, or she suggested, the very first session out the gate, like she was like, she's like, maybe you deal with just abandonment, or you have abandonment issues and whatever. And so like, when she put that out there for me, it really started to kind of like, just put different things into perspective, like from a life standpoint, and why I'll be feeling whatever type of ways I'll be feeling.
Okay.
Things be going on.
That's big, especially for me to hear.
Live.
I know people who have.
Go live on these hoes. Go live on these hoes.
I know a few people who have abandonment issues. For example, you met Katie, and I know she wouldn't mind me saying anything. She was taken from her mother and her father, from her grandmother, went to an adoption agency, got split up from her sister. So, like, I can totally see, it's expected for you to have abandonment issues.
Right.
But the thing is, it comes in totally all these different forms, So, was that a shocker for you, too? Like, oh,
yeah, no, it definitely was because, like, again, I ain't never heard nothing like that. Like, when you're going through things, people just tell you, oh, this and that, blah, blah, blah. But, like, you don't really,
think that applies to you.
That's gonna be that's the Can't you get us a title? Hold on, I'm trying to go live, y'all. We gotta let people hear this. You know what I'm saying? Hold on. I don't know how you can put a what's name with it.
I don't either.
Rock out. But I'm sorry. What was the question again?
Was that a shocker for you to hear about?
Oh yeah, no, it definitely was a shocker because, like, again, as I told you, like, talking with my mom, like, my mom is, and obviously, my wife now, but growing up, my mom has just always been my therapist. And, I would talk to her about, just to keep it a buck as far as, like, things I'm talking to, he going to end up seeing it anyway, so hopefully he don't end up feeling the type of way. But, like, the reason why I was feeling whatever type of ways that I was feeling, it was at the expense of my dad. And me and my dad don't have a bad relationship or whatever, but essentially I don't feel like he was what I personally needed as a son growing up. Like, you know, I mean, again, this is me speaking, you know, as an adult, or I'm sorry, this is me speaking as far as like when I was young. I mean, I understand how everything goes now. Obviously, I got my own kids, and, you know, you can't be every single thing that you want to be as far as for your kids. But I do feel like, you know, there's a basic level of how you need to be as a parent. And I don't feel like I got that. So, like, you know, there was time. And then again, as I speak to me being in different, me going back and forth between Texas and Ohio, of course, when I'm in Ohio, like, I wasn't getting phone calls, getting checked on all the time. There was birthdays missed. You know, birthday phone calls missed, I should say. You know, just like, you know, but again, just like calling me, like, you know, again, like right now, like, you know, I'm traveling and stuff now. I talk to, you know, Skylar every day, and I try to, you know, make sure I'm talking to, you know, Princeton and Swade and, you know, Jess every day by way of FaceTime, and we have those options now. But, you know, again, even if we didn't have like FaceTime, I would still be calling and, you know, or texting or something, just trying to like figure out like, okay, make sure that my kids is good. And so I just felt like, you know, back in the days, like I just felt like he didn't really care about me. And that probably wasn't even the case, but that's just how I felt.
And you're entitled to your feelings.
So, you know, with that, when I go into therapy, and then, you know, she's getting because that was the very first thing that I started to speak about. You know, when you first go into therapy, they're basically asking you questions like about you. Why do you feel like you're here? Why this? Why that? So, you know, she's asking me a lot of questions, and then as I'm answering them, I'm speaking about things going on as far as like with my dad, and then that's when she basically was just hit me over the head with the whole abandonment thing. And like when she did that, again, I was very shocked, but then it just was like, oh, damn.
It makes sense.
Yeah, like, I'm just like, oh, like, okay, well, all right then. And, you know, so helping me, when she helped me realize that, I don't know, I guess from there, we literally just started working from there within all the other sessions that I was doing with her.
Okay, that's what's up.
Yeah, man.
So what would you want some of our viewers to take from this episode, our male viewers from this episode?
Male and female, to go to therapy. If you feel like you have, actually, it don't even matter if you feel like you have anything going on. You don't have to have anything going on to go into therapy. At the end of the day, you know, we all dealing with something. We all trying to, you know, do things for our kids, or if you don't have any kids, you're trying to do things for yourself and, you know, make your dreams come true, or just whatever. And, you know, there's no such thing as having all good days. You're going to have bad days. You're going to have days, you know, where you're down yourself, or, you know, just whatever. But again, it doesn't matter what you're going through. If I'm speaking again to male and female, your listeners, I'm just telling just to go to therapy, just go and just, you know, because it's nothing but positive. I mean, well, again, this is if you find you a good therapist, or a therapist that you feel like, you know, is truly, you know, good for you. You know, as you said initially, some people do have to go through different therapists or whatever. You know, it's very rare that you get people like myself who just find that one person to stick with them. But yeah, no, I definitely would suggest any and everybody to go into therapy, no matter what you're going through, but especially if you feel like you deal with depression, or even when you're stressed and just want to, you know, talk to somebody just about it. Because, you know, we talk to our people and everything, but, you know, your people are really going to tell you the same things. You know, they're going to all tell you the same thing. Or, you know, you got your people who hit you with, like how you said, just I'm going to pray for you.
Now, I want to just say one thing about that, too. On our episode that will air this week, we shout out to So Ratchet Podcast in New York. Raven was dealing with a death, and we told them about it, and TJ was like, "Can we pray right now?" And I was like, "Man, I love that." Because of course prayer is good. I don't mind doing that, but you just get so tired of hearing that. Most of the time we all fall short. We'll say that and we'll forget. Not intentionally, but when you do it right there, that holds something powerful. But if you're going to do that too, don't just pray, like actually do something. So like you I'm pretty sure you pray, but you're also going to therapy. Right. Do you do anything else? Like, do you journal or listen to music, or just spend time, dedicate 5 minutes to yourself? Like anything that you weren't doing before? No,
I don't.
Okay.
I need to though.
Yeah.
You know, those were things that, everything that you just said, from the journaling to I will tell you something that I do, or I still need to get better and more consistent with it. But something that my therapist has just always suggested to me is just speaking basically positivity over just my life and just my situations, and also affirmations as well.
Yes.
Now I don't, I don't wake up and give myself affirmations like I need to. I don't, but I will say that I do think in a more positive light now. At least I try to. Of course, again, there's days where it's just like, I don't feel like, doing whatever, or, I get down, or, just whatever. But still in those times, I just always try to make sure that I am just speaking some type of positivity into my life or whatnot. And that is like at her expense. 'Cause I mean, especially when you have people that are following you, like, the energy that you're giving into the world is going, especially like from a family perspective, or just as a man, as the head of the household. If I'm around here, I'm pissed off and I'm mad and I'm this and that, all that energy is gone. Exactly. Oops. So, again, I just try to be more positive just about everything as much as I can.
I love that. Positive vibes only.
Yeah.
Well, anything you want to say before we wrap this one up?
I mean, again, I just want to continue to just reiterate again, for males, females, men, women, please get into a therapy session, even if if you got insurance, see if your insurance will cover it. If not cover the whole thing, at least cover a little bit of it, half of it, or whatever. Go in, just speak your mind, be open. Because again, there's things that we're all going through, and there's things that you can put out and work through. You don't have to just. I think when we are going through things, I think that we just feel like we got to just sit on it and just do it by ourselves. But in reality, you really don't.
Yeah.
So and I think again, therapists are pretty good at just helping you just try to put the pieces together. So again, I would suggest everybody.
Agreed. Now, I will say this. They do have resources. On our previous episode, they did go ahead and tell us about foundations. So I'll definitely try to put that in the description for this one, but it'll for sure be in the first one. But we appreciate you for coming on. No problem, hopefully, you can come back on for other topics as well.
For sure.
And make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe. Deuces.
Peace out.